Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is episode 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So last episode we were introduced to Itodori, our main character, who's been possessed by a curse. So it seems like everything in this world is called curses. So there's kind of cursed objects and exorcism. It was kind of your standard anime setup with, a school and everything. We saw that Itodori actually has some kind of physical enhancements of some sort, and his granddad passed in the episode, and the granddad said something about there's a message from Itodori's parents, and then he never got to receive the message. So I think that has something to do with his powers. So he was part of this supernatural club, which reminded me a lot of Mob Psycho 100, and then they were after this cursed object, this finger of Ryugen or something, that kind of attracted all these other curses, which then caused the fight. And then we saw Itodori eats the finger and gets possessed, but he seems to have some leeway against the spirit that's possessing him. So it kind of left it off on a cliffhanger. I imagine this is where Gojou gets introduced, because we saw at the start of the first episode that he had Itodori locked up, because at the end it looked like Fujiwara was going to exorcise him, but obviously that can't happen. He's the main character, he's not going to die so quick. So I think someone's going to come in and stop them, and then he's going to get captured and start to be questioned. Be sure to check out the Patreon if you're interested in full length or early reactions, and access to polls to vote on shows and movies to watch next. And yeah, let's just jump into it. Oh, here he is.
ごめんそれ俺食べちゃった
Look like they're about to kiss. I knew he was like casual, but I didn't know it was this much. You can teleport? Or he's just super quick? I know a bit about Gojou's powers. He has like, it's not like a force field, it's like infinite space between his skin. There's 20 fingers. He looks like the guy from Hunter x Hunter. So find all the parts of Sukuna, then he'll die. But I guess as he gets all the parts, he'll get more powerful. I wonder if they'll give him that finger that they have right now, or 6, or like he'll prove himself worthy and then they'll give them to him to power up. He has to team up with Sukuna at some point, I guess. Like them two kind of working together in tandem. That little bit of Panda doing parkour is so funny. Seems like he always has these lines here now. I don't know if they're scars where the eyes open. Did she not know that he was there? Yeah, it was the same day, really. And then to let him see the cremated remains? He's at 10% power. I'm surprised they just let him do it out in the open like this, not in a secure location. Because if he loses control...
本当にめんどくせえ遺言だよ。ちなみに1年生は君で3人目。少な。
Only 3 students, so that must be the other 2 that were seeing, the girl and the guy who's got the hair that kind of covers one eye.
山ん中だな。本当に東京？東京も郊外はこんなんよ。
Tokyo is a huge area.
表向きには私立の宗教系学校とされている。
So there's a second school as well. I wonder if there'll be like, I don't know how much this will focus on the schools, if there'll be like events where we see the schools go up against each other. Reminds me of Parasite a bit with Miggy.
その子が虎杖裕二です。好みのタイプはジェニファー・ローレンス。
Two girls like Jennifer Lawrence, what?
不合格だ。
Oh, he can control the dolls. The curse system seems to be quite a versatile power.
呪いに殺された人を横目に。
Attack him because he's the one controlling the doll.
ごめんだね。自分が死ぬ時のことはわからんけど、生き様で後悔はしたくない。
Don't regret the way you live. So he doesn't have like complete control over the dolls. Is Fushiguro one of the second or third years? Here she is. The school's in the countryside. Okay. Oh yeah, it didn't show the ending in the last one, but I've seen it before. I know how upbeat it is, this kind of contrast in the show. Okay, so that was episode 2. We started off with this great action scene, seeing Gojou go up against Sukuna. I'd seen kind of clips of that before when people had talked about this show and how good the animation is. I mentioned it before in the last episode, but I think the style of this show kind of fits Mappa a bit more. And I think because they had more time than they did with Attack on Titan, it really shows in the animation. That fight scene was really nice. So we find out there's 20 of these fingers that Itodori is going to have to eat at some point, and then once he does, he'll be executed. So we kind of have our MacGuffin for the series, them going around and collecting these fingers. And it seems like as he collects these fingers, he'll power up. So it kind of sets up a natural power progression for the show, which is quite nice. It's quite well written in that way. Right at the end there, we saw, I think her name is Nanami. I'm not 100% sure. The girl who I'm looking forward to seeing and kind of seeing what her powers are as well. Because, you know, I've seen a bit about this show just through pop culture. I knew what Gojou's powers were. I know there's the panda, but I don't know what Nanami's powers are, if Nanami's her name. You're introduced to the school and this new teacher who's kind of teaching Itodori a lesson and about why he's motivated to be here, to do what he does, because he said it was just because his grandpa told him. But that isn't really the case. It's because his grandpa told him to not live a life of regret. So that's kind of his motivation to live a fulfilling life. So the kind of setup for him being executed at the end, it does make me wonder if that will actually happen. And maybe by the end of the show, once he's got all these fingers, he's had a fulfilling life, so he accepts it. But I don't know if you'd be that ready to accept it. So the kind of curse power system, it seems quite versatile because it kind of reminds me of Nen, where there's not one thing that it does. There's lots of different abilities and you can kind of tailor it to your specific powers. You can tailor it to yourself. Because I know about Gojou's powers with kind of the infinite shield thing he has. And then Fushigara, he had these kind of 2 wolves or 2 dogs that he summoned. And then we saw the headmaster of this school can possess dolls. So there seems to be a lot you can do with the power system. And it makes me excited to see kind of what things will be introduced later, what other powers people will have, what Itodori's powers will be if he has them. And the kind of setup of him having Sukuna inside of him, it does seem like they will have to form some kind of relationship together to coexist. It reminds me of Greed and Ling from Fullmetal Alchemist. You know, sharing a body, you have to work together, and there might be some points where Itodori becomes overpowered by someone and he can't fight back, so he hands the reins over to Sukuna because Sukuna doesn't want to die either, so then they can work together in that way. I think that's all I have to say for this episode, so be sure to check out the Patreon for early access to the next episode and a full-length reaction to this one, a full-length timer based for this one. Also access to polls to vote on future shows. Make sure to leave a like and a comment, maybe share it with a friend who you know likes the show. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.